Yeah, baby. We're here. It's in season. We've made it through the mock season, as sad as that is. No mock drafts today, unfortunately. But in season, Total Hockey Now is here. We are on day 3. As a state of survival, did I come too early? It's October 9th, right? It is indeed October 9th, the first in-season edition of Total Hockey Now. Here on the Total Hockey Now YouTube channel, that over there is at Fuzzy Chris 91, Christopher Moraes. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. You're wondering where Anthony Rivera at Ant Rivera 86 is? They won't even let you bet on the dentist in Vegas anymore, is where he is, because that's what's holding him up. He'll be here shortly. I feel like we should just have a studio installed at the waiting room there.
I love how he was like, "Hey, I'm going to be late" in our group chat, and immediately I'm like, "Oh, it's got to be the dentist, right?" Makes sense.
I mean, I thought it might be child related, but then once you said dentist, I'm like, yeah, it's got to be dentist.
That would have been my second guess, but I was like, it's got to be the dentist. It's got to be. There's no other way. It's got to be. He's probably making sure all the teeth are in place before the season starts. Devils are in action tonight, so he just wants to be locked in. I get it,
and that's fine. The Devils Hurricanes. That's going to be the lead off of the ESPN Plus doubleheader here in the United States, followed by Vegas San Jose later. And there are 28 Thursdays in the NHL regular season starting tonight. And we're going to be with you for 26 of them. No Thanksgiving, no Christmas Day. We'll probably throw you a bone on New Year's Day because why not? But through the Olympics, the regular season, fantasy hockey playoffs, we're here for you. And then, of course, we continue on and roll on into the spring with playoff previews and picks. And then you know what offseason mode is. We just finished that up. Hope we helped you out with the fantasy hockey mock drafts. Now, while we wait for Anthony to get here, we're going to run through some contract news for the week because 3 big fish that I don't know if anybody expected to get to market are officially off the board. Let's start with the first domino that fell, which was a little surprising, which was the Connor McDavid contract extension, 2 years, $25 million. This starts next season, so he'll be there for this year plus 2 more years. What I liked about this is, yes, he took 12.5, and we could talk about how below market value that is. But he has basically taken all the onus off of himself unless he drastically starts to take a drop in production and says, listen, we have both goalies off the board next year. I have left money on the table for you to address that. It's if they don't get to the promised land in the next 3 years, it's not McDavid's fault. You can't point the finger at him and say he didn't do enough.
Listen, man, some players are playing chess while others are playing checkers. And you can't argue that McDavid doesn't care about winning. It is clear that that's what he wants to do by taking this 2-year, $25 million total extension. It gives Edmonton just an insane amount of flexibility in a cap era where, yes, even if the salary cap's going up, so are player contracts. And like you said, he is basically telling the Oilers, you figure it out. I'm doing this for you. You figure it out. My only concern here is for the Oilers management in general and maybe the fans, because you have to prepare for this. Because if the Oilers do not take that step, he is leaving Edmonton. There's no way he does this. Edmonton, lays one. And then he says, yeah, I'll side up here long term. And the bar the last 2 years has been Stanley Cup Finals. So that is an extremely high bar to set. Now, the good news is they're I guess they're close. The bad news is if yesterday's any indication on how the season's going to go, they were up 3-0 to the Calgary Flames, and I had already passed out. But when I woke up, it was just in time to watch the overtime and just in time to watch the shootout, which had Calgary winning. And I was like, well, this is not ideal. That was 1 game into the year, so we won't go crazy, but it's 1 game into the year, and Stuart Skinner didn't have good numbers.
And a lot of the things we're gonna say today, let's preface with the fact that it's been 1 game. Some of these teams haven't even played a game yet. 1 game. You're not trying to extract too much. You're still going off of last year's vibes a little bit. But yeah, when we take a look at these games later, when we get to them at 5:30 Eastern time. Yeah, I do find it a little curious that they have 2 holes at goaltend for their goalie spot next year, and I know they brought Connor Ingram in. Sergei Bobrovsky and Jacob Markstrom are the 2 free agents that will be unrestricted. Wouldn't that be something if they bring in Bobrovsky to try and, the guy that beat him in 2 of the Stanley Cups, they try to bring him in? Because I don't know if I see Florida re-signing Bobrovsky, but we'll see about that. That's good. We're getting way down the line here. So yeah, Connor McDavid does his part to try and get the Oilers over the hump and get the first Stanley Cup back in Edmonton since 1990, back when Messier was the captain. So that's one contract that went off the books. Now you got Kyle Connor, 8 years, $96 million, starts next season. So I remember when we did an early season show last year and we couldn't believe with Hellebuck and Scheifele, like, hey, they're going to stick around and all that. Now you've got that third piece. Now you've got your three pieces. This is it. And Winnipeg, the front office is doing what they have to do to keep their top players around, to keep them as competitive as they can. I know that's not easy in Winnipeg. It's not a destination by any means. It's good enough for Kyle Connor, and so that's good news for the Jets.
People keep saying that Winnipeg's a place that players don't want to go, but they clearly feel comfortable enough signing 7-8 year deals to stay there, right? Mark Scheifele, Connor Hellebuck. We thought this team was going to sell off all their pieces and players are going to go elsewhere and there's going to be a long rebuild, but that's just not the case here. These, top end players want to be around there. Clearly they believe in what's being built, and, good deal for Kyle Connor. He gets paid. I don't think anybody was surprised that he was going to make the money that he is now. Tidy piece of business there, done before the regular season starts. Now they can shift their attention and focus on trying to get past the first round.
I mean, for those of us that drafted Connor, like, oh, he's in a contract year, he's going to produce. Now that kind of goes out the window a little bit. But I think with a lot of these guys, I think they're still going to play. It's not like, oh, I got my contract now and he's going to drop to a 25-goal guy. Like, I don't think that's happening. Not a guy like Kyle Connor. So, listen, Winnipeg has to, and I don't think I think that's a fair deal for both sides. $12 million AAV. I mean, he's getting market value, especially considering what McDavid's making for the first couple of years of that extension that he has. And listen, for a top flight left winger, yeah, give me 12 million all day. And the guy that consistently gets 40 goals, sure, absolutely. And another guy that we didn't think was probably going to get out the door all that quickly, was going to get to market, I should say. Jack Eichel, 8 years, 108 million, also starts next season. Vegas was not going to let him go. They just brought in Mitch Marner, so this is it right here. Eichel and Marner, get used. You already see Eichel around Vegas. Get used to seeing Marner around. I'm sure they'll do some sort of local commercial, two of them together or something like that. And again, you're getting one of the best centers in the game. When we talk from a fantasy perspective, this was a guy that's going, early-ish second round. It's Jack Eichel, and I heard some Ranger fans saying all these guys, guys that we could have gone after. Eichel wasn't getting the market. It just wasn't happening.
No, they weren't going to let him get that far. He gets a raise as well. He's in a state where, again, no state tax, so we can talk about that until we're blue in the face. And yeah, he gets his deal. I didn't think he was going to sign before the start either, but he did. And how does he reward his team? 4 points on opening night. So, I mean, exactly what you signed up for Jack Eichel for. He has turned into an elite centerman in the NHL, both offensively and defensively. I know that wasn't always part of his game. I know when he was in Buffalo, talk about the attitude and all that kind of stuff. It seems like he just wanted out of Buffalo, which makes sense. He has come into Vegas. He has helped them win a Stanley Cup. He is counted on, again, offensively, defensively. He can play any position you want him to play, whether it's protecting the lead or whether it's trying to be the guy who goes out and scores the goal. Just a win-win for the player, for the organization, and Vegas doesn't seem like they're going to be stepping back anytime soon.
I mean, and yes, there was that period where Jack Eichel was not a two-way player, but there was also a period in Alexander Ovechkin's career where he thought back check meant like a dermatology exam. So, again, younger players go through that, and he's earned his end of the bargain there. They have the Stanley Cup. And the thing I like about him not letting this drag on to the season, to me, that sends an indication that the entire team is on the same page here. It's Stanley Cup or bust this year. We brought in a guy like Marner. We don't want to have any sort of distractions in the season, even if everybody knew, okay, Jack's going to sign. It's just a matter of how much and when they get. You don't want it is all business for Vegas this year. And yes, I know things didn't go the way they wanted to in the season opener, the Kings. But again, this is, get the business out of the way. They are focused on winning the division, winning the conference, and winning the Stanley Cup. I believe the EA Sports simulation had Vegas beating the Rangers in the Stanley Cup Finals I saw that correctly. So, I mean, I take that partially, but I'd like that to go a little bit differently there. But it'll be interesting to see, if any other UFAs decide to stick around and sign extensions. I mean, the biggest UFA names that I see right now: Panarin, Bobrovsky, Markstrom, Cale Makar, who I'm sure he's going to stay with Colorado, Ovechkin, Carlson, Adrian Kempe, Jason Robertson, who's probably going to be one of the top guys. I don't think he's going to stick in Dallas. So I don't know what else will get done, but definitely some hefty contracts to open the season there. Now, speaking of a hefty open to the season, Mr. Alexander Ovechkin currently sits at 897 goals. So the question is, when is he going to be the first NHLer in history to score 900? And we'll throw the odds. Now, these are odds that were posted before last night's Bruins game. They have not been updated. At least, right before I checked for Showtime, they were not updated. So take it with a grain of salt, but just to get an idea of where he might do this. Now, for me, Ovechkin's a guy where once he gets going, I think he'll get it quickly. Like if he doesn't, like once he gets let's say he scores against the Islanders on Saturday, then I think okay, it'll happen in the next 2 or 3 games after that. But we have no, if he doesn't get the longer it takes for him to get that first goal is going to make this drag on more and more. And you try looking up, who does he score the most goals against team wise? Well, you can't trust that stat because it says Winnipeg because of the days when they were the Atlanta Thrashers in this old Southeast division. His top 7 teams that he scored against are either current Metro teams or former Southeast teams. So you can't take that. You got to look at that with a grain of salt. And then I looked at guys he scored the most goals against that would be coming up on the schedule. Again, because you play the Rangers more, Igor Shesterkin's going to have 5 Ovi goals against him. Because Elvis Merzlikins plays with Columbus, he's got, Ovi scored on him 4 times. But when I look at that left side, I think somewhere towards the bottom of the left side, he gets it done. I don't know if we're, getting close to Halloween and still asking this question. But I think maybe by the time we get on the air next week here, we'll probably have a similar question to ask.
I was looking at it too, and I was trying to dig in, and it was the same kind of thought that you were having. And Ovechkin has scored so many goals, but yes, he's done it consistently, but sometimes it comes in waves. Once he gets going, it's go time. I am of the same opinion. I think it comes somewhere between Vancouver, Seattle, and Columbus. The Vancouver Canucks, we're going to see what kind of team they are, but I don't think they're going to be very good. Seattle is miserable. That team is just full of just third-line players out there, so not much. And Columbus is, I expect them to be better, but they're also kind of a young team, and sometimes young teams, right? Jet Greaves is going to get his first start tonight as well. So young teams have young growing pains. Sometimes they miss their assignments. I think that's somewhere in that range between the 19th and the 24th is when he'll get his 3rd goal. And I think they, like you said, they're going to come quickly. So it probably 2-in-1 game or maybe an empty. He's probably going to score an empty net goal at some point to help get him there, but they all count. So I don't see it earlier than that, but I do think somewhere in that 19 to 24 range of October, you might want to be in front of your TV to watch that game.
There are certain players that have that factor that when they get close to doing something historic, like, what Gretzky, when he had 50 and 40 games or something like that, and he did it with how many points in that game. I would love to see what the odds would be where Ovechkin breaks it with a hat trick. He just gets it all done in one game. Because if he gets that, if he scores in the first period and he's got to 898 and it's a team or a goalie, he feels like, I'm feeling it tonight. And the second he gets one, the team, probably to maybe a little bit of a detriment, they may start overfeeding him the puck, trying to get him close at that point. If we want to run down the list here, goalies, Shesterkin, it's not unless he gets the hat trick on the Islanders on Saturday that, we can pass that. Rangers plus 700 to Shesterkin, 5 goals. Tampa Bay, didn't see anything on Vasilevsky. Gustafsson, he's got 2 goals. Demko, he's got 4 goals. So, that's like you said, the Vancouver. Didn't see anything on Joey Decord. Can't imagine he has much on Philip Grubauer because opportunities are limited considering they were teammates. After that is Columbus, Elvis Merzlikins, 4 goals. And then you get into that right side of the column. Ottawa, Linus Olmark, 2 goals, and he has 1 on Levi Merrylainen. Dallas, Jake Ottinger, 2 goals. Buffalo, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, 4 goals, but he's hurt, but he should be back by then. St. Louis, Binnington, he's got 3. Tristan Jarry, where did I put that? 2 goals. And then here's the other thing. If you start to get into that Carolina, Florida range, 4 against Kochetkov, and then Bobrovsky, he's got, where did I put it down? He had, I know I typed it somewhere, but he's got 3 against Tarasov and 16 career-wise against Bobrovsky. Now, again, Flyers, Blue Jackets, Panthers, now that they do play him 3 times a season, like that's a reason for that. But if it gets to Carolina or Florida, that's tempting, but the odds obviously won't be that great by the time you get closer to that.
Yeah, and if we're getting into mid-November and he's still looking for his 3rd goal, like we're going to be having different conversations than, why, when is he going to get his 900 and going, why doesn't he already have 900? I do believe that it's going to come sometime in October. It's probably in that middle. If anything, again, he's going to get to play Ottawa. He's going to get to play Buffalo. And then he's, Pittsburgh. So 3 teams that don't necessarily have much in terms of goaltending. Maybe Ottawa has, but Buffalo most certainly doesn't. And Tristan Jarry's getting the start tonight. I can't wait to see him get lit up like a Christmas tree. I'm excited for that.
We can talk about that a little bit later, but it's only a matter of time before Shelovs is the guy in Pittsburgh. It's only a matter of time. Now, you said if Ovi takes his time, that would start to lead to the question Marek's asking. You think this is Ovi's last season? I think it is. I mean, he's got the championship. He's going to get to, as long as he gets to 900, he's going to have, he's not going to touch Gretzky's point record, which that's just not happening. So what else? What other boxes are there left for him to check off? I mean, he's a guy that doesn't get hurt very often, but I mean, a 40-year-old man is a 40-year-old man at a certain point, and you'd hate to see it. The only way I could see him coming back is if he sustains some sort of injury. Now, even this is a guy that came back from a broken leg in 6 weeks, no problem. But if he sustains an injury that really keeps him down for a while, and that's not how he wants to go out, coming back with like 3 weeks to go, playing at 85%, then I could see him coming back for 1 more year, wanting to go out, on his terms, having a respectable season. But if it's a typical status quo season for Ovi and status quo for him is still damn good, I could see him being like, all right, I'm good leaving on that note. Maybe he goes and plays in the KHL for a year just to, throw a bone to his old buddy Putin there. But, I don't think he's coming back.
It depends. I guess it depends a little bit on his play as well. Like if he's just going to go out there, like let's say he has a terrible offensive year this year, right? Like it just doesn't connect. Father Time is undefeated. So at some point he's going to slow down. It's just the way it goes. So does he want to go out in the same way? Again, nothing against Wayne Gretzky, but I think his last year he had like 10 goals or something. Like you knew it was time. And I don't know if Ovi wants to go out that way. So maybe it's based on his production. If he has another year where he scores 40 goals, he's got 80 points, maybe he's like, hey, I can still do it. Then I'll come back again and, run it. Maybe he doesn't need the money, obviously, at this point. Maybe he signs a team-friendly deal and, they load up again and they try to go for a run. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be Ovechkin that decides what he wants to do, how he wants to do it. And as long as he has the drive to want to score goals, right? Because that's his thing, scoring goals. So if he doesn't score goals, I can't imagine him having much fun and saying, yes, I want to do this grind again. So I guess
Gretzky in his last year, 9-53, by the way, 9 goals, 53 assists. I watched that season. I remember Gretzky's last. I remember watching the game against the Penguins that the Rangers looked pitiful that whole entire game against Mario. Yara.
So again, does he want to do that? You know what I mean? Does he want to finish his career in his last year at like 15 goals? I don't know. Like that doesn't scream Ovi. So
and here's
as long as his production's there, I think he keeps going.
Now here's the thing with his hits record. He needs 271 hits to pass Cal Clutterbuck all time. That would be a career high for him by about 30. The most hits he's ever had in a single season, 259 back in 2014-15. I don't see a guy that's getting older going out and throwing his body around more. Now, granted, He had 110 last year, 100. He's still being a physical force out there. But it's going to take him 2 seasons for him to get that hits record. And so I don't think that's, going to keep him going. 62 points in 70 games. That was Gretzky's last year. Right. But 9 goals. And again, not discounting the great one, but a guy of his stature, if he's not breaking double digit goals, he don't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
That's
how it is. Again, if I'm Ovechkin, he loves to score goals, right? That's what he wants to do. If he's not going to be able to do it, I don't know why he would want to show up. Like, it's nothing against him. He's accomplished everything that you can accomplish, basically. And like you said about the hits, I don't know if I want Ovi going out there throwing his body around, 140 hits or something like that. He's just like, he's getting older, so it's just not what I want my captain and my greatest goal scorer to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, let Tom Wilson do that. Don't let Ovi go out there. I'm sure he's going to throw 100 hits, but like you said, he's going to need
not
more
going
than
after
1 year.
200. He's not like, I'm 270 from the record, and all of a sudden I'm going to start throwing his body around.
270 means 135, so he would need 30 more hits this year, which is maybe possible. Like you said, he missed some time last year due to his his broken leg.
He needs 271. There's no way he's never hit that total in his career. He'd have to play like Kiefer Sherwood in order to get that. And that's not, again, I don't see a guy that's trying to hang on for another year or two. Again, he'll still hit triple digits, but I don't see him doing 270 to get to that record. We got a few minutes here before we run the board for tonight, but we do like to do a fantasy segment every week. This week, we're going to talk a little fantasy hockey draft leftovers. As you can see in the Tupperware container there, goalies, the smallest one. And you'll see why in a minute. Let's throw up some of the names on the screen here. And what I did is I kind of just went through the waiver wire availability in all of my 12 and 14 leagues and just pulled some names that I saw that, may be interesting. Maybe somebody, even if you're not going to add them right now, put them in the back of your mind. And we can go through these guys and explain our thought process here on some of them, or you can say absolutely not. Frank Nazar is like a guy you went out and picked up immediately last night, or 2 days before that, I should say, when the Blackhawks had their season opener. So that makes total sense to me right there, and you wasted no time.
He scored that first goal, looked really good. Once he got that second assist, I went straight. I added him. I was like, I've seen enough. Let's do this. My first concern was I went to go see if it was possible for him to win Rookie of the Year, and then I was reminded that he played like 50-some-odd games last year, and I was like, okay, thank God, because I didn't want my Demidov Rookie of the Year shares to already be chalked. So, Frank, I went straight and grabbed Nazar wherever I could. I just loaded up. I was like, that's it, man. Come on in. Welcome to the team. Find yourself an apartment on this team. You're going to be here for a minute. So yeah, if Nazar's still hanging around, man, there is space on your fantasy team for him. Don't wait. You can go get him now. Do it.
And we recognize that some people are watching are going to be in sharper leagues than others. Like, oh, he's not he was drafted in whatever round. I get that, but not everybody's playing in leagues with guys like us that are like watching games and going like, whoop, that guy up on Yahoo right now. Get the claim in. So let's just run through some of the names on the list. I think Mackie Samoskevich is going to get an increased role of Florida over time. He looked, he looked like he's getting some opportunities there in that first game. Andrei Kuzmenko, and I saw this stat watching the game the other night, 17 points in 22 games with the Kings down the stretch before the playoffs last year. So that's a guy that I would look at there. Cause again, LA's offense comes from Kevin Fiala, Adrian Kempe, and then Quentin Byfield to a certain extent. But then after that, and I think Kuzmenko, I think fills that void. Troy Terry skating on a top line with Carlson and Kreider. If you had to tell me who's going to put the puck in the net on that line between those three, not this, Leo Carlson can, Kreider can, but Terry's clearly the trigger man there. Jimmy Snuggerud's going to have a top line right wing role with St. Louis or second line, depending upon the night. Another name, I was surprised to see Riley Smith is skating on the second line in Vegas for now, and Hurdle centering the third line, at least for a bit. But that's something to keep an eye on because he's just one of those guys where he'll have his slumps, but he always finds a way to produce. Zach Benson's banged up with Buffalo, but slated to skate on the top line with Tage Thompson there. Jackson Blake will be a secondary source of scoring with Carolina. BC, you might have to be a little patient with there. That's more of a stash and see how he grows. But he's going to be playing the second line center role eventually in San Jose. Once they get him comfortable there, they'll probably swap him and Wenberg. At least for now, Wenberg is the second line center. But anybody else on the left you want to make a case for?
Misa is the interesting one. I don't know why San Jose is going to run Ryan Reeves out there on the fourth line. I mean, Reeves to me is the guy that you play sparingly whenever you need a big body in there to make sure nobody's doing anything they shouldn't. Troy Terry, I agree with you as well. He is the trigger man on his line. He is there to do that. Leo Carlson can be a great passer. We saw a little bit of Michelli yesterday. As a Habs fan, I wasn't thrilled. He did look pretty good. He is nowhere near the Marner production. So if you're a Leafs fan thinking you're going to get Marner production out of Michelli, boy, do I have a lakefront property for you in the middle of the Northwest Territories that I can get you on. The rest of those guys are like, they're there. I'm not going out of my way just yet. Unless you have somebody who's injured who you can stash on like an IR plus kind of thing, just kind of take advantage of for a couple of days. I'm not going out of my way to drop somebody yet and say, yes, this is the guy I want to hold on to.
Looking over on the right side of the screen there with the defensemen and the goaltenders. Let's start with the goalies. Listen, the fact that Scott Wedgwood is getting the first couple of starts, I know Blackwood is banged up. May as well get, because that with a guy like with Blackwood's injury history, Scott Wedgwood might be a guy you picked up thinking or drafted late thinking, all right, I'll get a few weeks out of him. And then he might end up hanging around Blackwood's injury history. So don't be too quick to get rid of him. Still scoop him up because he's playing behind a really good team. Connor Ingram's more of a stash candidate because let's face it, at some point, Edmonton's going to learn again that Stuart Skinner's not a long-term viable option. Calvin Pickard is great as a backup and not the guy you want to start. They're going to give Ingram a chance. Shelovs, I think we know unless Jarry all of a sudden turns it around and starts playing very, very well, I think he's going to be the guy there. Again, you don't want to overreact off of one game because Pittsburgh played a good game against the Rangers the other night. They really shut him down. They didn't really give him much room to skate. Shelovs look good. So I think that's going to be the guy in Pittsburgh. He's going to be getting more of the starts over Jarry over time there. Looking at the defenseman, Sam Rinzel is kind of like Frank Nazar, similar thing. He's going to be running the top power play there in Chicago, moving the puck well. A guy that's probably not there in some of your leagues, but if he is still there, he's not going to be there much longer. Everybody else on the right side, that's more of long-term, maybe if you get really desperate. But I will say, Colorado's blue line after Taves and Makar gets thin, so Burns is going to get chances there, especially if one of them gets banged up or misses time.
Yeah, Brent Burns doesn't go away, and he's done a lot of things. Again, he's in the later part of his career, but he can still produce. Going back to the goalies, though, for Connor Ingram, if you have Stuart Skinner, then Connor Ingram's your handcuff. It's not Calvin Pickard. It's Connor Ingram. He wasn't, right, like, Edmonton got him not to be in the minors. So at worst, when he's ready to return, right, he's going to end up the backup goalie. Calvin Pickard is going to end up in the AHL, which is like, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like it's Calvin Pickard. We're not going out of our way to keep him, right? So Connor Ingram's going to be the backup. And at worst, again, Edmonton's going to give him looks. He's going to get looks to see if he can do it. Then it's up to him to figure it out. And if he plays well, it becomes a 50-50 time split there or a hot hand kind of thing. Scott Wedgwood can kind of make a case for him to get more starts by having a strong start to his season. If you're a Mackenzie Blackwood owner like I am, I already picked up Wedgwood. So I put Blackwood, I put one Wood on the IR. I went to go get another Wood. So one Wood filling in for the other Wood until a Wood takes over. And for Shelovs, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Like, Jarry is terrible, and he's not going to get better. And I'll give the Pittsburgh Penguins some credit. They did play well. Raiders didn't look very good in that first game.
They did not.
There's just not enough generation of shots. It didn't look good. It didn't look like they were able to get past the Penguins blue line, which is nothing to write home about. So for Shelovs, it was a great start. If anything, it gives his team confidence, gives him confidence, gives the coaching staff confidence to say, hey, we can run him out here regularly. So that is the good way. To the defense, Rinzel, same thing. He's going to get looks. And somebody's got to quarterback that top power play unit. So he's going to get his chance. I don't really care for Lori or Orloff. I don't think it works. Unfortunately, Sam Dickinson is not going to be in the lineup tonight. I know you and I are just, after that last mock draft,
it started as a joke, but now, yeah.
Like now Sam Dickens is basically part of the team now. Like this is the guy we're rooting for. If Ivan Demidov doesn't win Rookie of the Year, I want it to be Sam Dickinson. I think that might be a long shot. But again, once the Sharks figure out that they don't have to run those old bodies out there and let the kids have some fun, they'll be okay.
The reason I have Lowry up there is because he is on the top pairing in Boston, and he's on the second power play unit. He's on, if something were to happen to McAvoy, he becomes the guy. So it's more of a domino effect. And yeah, Dickinson is more of a stash candidate. And Orlov I have up there because when you look at the Sharks blue line, it's either a lot of guys that it's band-aided together with decent guys, but guys that get hurt, or like Klingberg that were very power play specialists and offensive force. They're not going to take many defensive zone draws. Or Orlov is still kind of play in all situations. So I think he may end up into a lot of minutes there. But that's just, again, more of a deeper stash kind of thing there. Glenn P checking in. I picked up Kuzmenko and Jet Greaves while Kochetkov is hurt. Let's see here. We got another question in the chat. How soon into the hockey pool do you start trading players? State of survival, you want to trade already. So maybe something's brewing over there. For me, like when you play fantasy football, it's, 13 weeks to the playoffs. So you have to kind of sometimes maybe make a move after week 2. Whereas with the NHL, I'm not making any major moves probably in the month of October, unless just something falls into my lap that's too good to say no to. Even like tinkering moves, you don't want, again, you got to have enough of a sample size before you really start making moves. Like if you drafted these guys, you believe in these guys. So unless it was like a late round pick that you can, say, okay, whatever, I can dump that guy. For the bigger players, I'm holding on to him at least for a little bit.
Listen, I'm already looking and seeing which players had a rough 2-3 game start to their season. Find that one owner in your league, that gets a little jittery. That's, you don't want to be the guy who panics too early. But some of you get too stressed too early, and this is your opportunity to pounce on something, right?
Don't be that guy, is the point.
Right. Don't be the guy who trades him, but be the guy who checks in. Be the guy who checks in early, right? Be the guy who finds out. There are going to be players who are going to be off to a slow start. That's your opportunity to buy at a discount. Don't wait till they're too expensive. And if you got a player that gets off to a blazing hot start and you can turn them into something, again, go out and get it. You don't wait. I know some people have these like made up rules where they don't do things for X amount of time. Those are made up. That's a fugazi. It doesn't exist. Just go out there, make sure that you find something. And yes, picking up Kuzmenko, good start. Jet Greaves, especially with Kochetkov being hurt, yes. Jet Greaves is going to get a chance to run here.
Nothing should ever be a hard and fast rule with that. But yeah, again, like if you get an offer that falls into your lap, or you see an area to maybe be like, oh, I can get that guy, if there are ways to do it, but don't force there shouldn't be any panic moves yet. That's the thing. There should be.
Don't panic. Be the guy who finds the one panicking. Find that guy.
Again,
find that guy who's a little sitting uneasy.
And that's the thing. It's October 9th. Exactly. So just keep that in mind. It's October 9th. So no major moves yet, but we've gone through when we think Ovechkin's going to score 900. We've gone through our fantasy draft leftovers for this year. We talked about the big contracts and all that. It's time to run the board for Thursday night. Let's get that going. All right, it is Thursday night pucking preview here on the Total Hockey Now YouTube channel. We'll get this going a little bit after 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific each week. Run the board for the Thursday night slate. And we got a doozy tonight. We got a 14 gamer, and I know there's some complaints about the NHL scheduling to start the season because you got 14 tonight, nothing tomorrow, 16 Saturday, 1 Sunday. It's early in the season. There's going to be some bumps to get people in teams in the schedule.
Are you new? Are you new here? The NHL not scheduling correctly? Again, water continues to be wet, people. Yes. It's Thursday night football. And the NHL was like, I'm going to put 14 games on top. But you are a hockey fan, so you're watching it anyways. Listen,
if you don't have Eagles, so
Giants Eagles. So we start by this. by the midway through the third, just change the channel. You know what I mean? It truly doesn't matter. Also, if you don't have a minimum of 2 screens, like that's your investment for October. You need 2 screens at this time of year. Because
Don't worry about making fantasy trades. Worry about getting that second screen.
Get that second screen. Listen, I was watching the Habs, and second screen had the Jays and the Yankees on because I wanted to know what was going on there. And again, tonight, listen, I have 3 screens. All 3 of them are going to be in action tonight. All 3 of them. So
speaking of threes, our the third member of our crew is here, Mr. Ant Rivera 86. Are we able to talk after the dentist? Are we going to have like a Kramer slurring situation? Are you going to be able to drink?
We are all good.
Okay.
No, we are all good. Mouth is good. Mouth is clean. And yes, we are ready to go here, as I have as many dentist visits as Ovi has goals this right now. So fun times always.
I was saying at the beginning of the show, if you want, we could just, see if we maybe put like a camera and a microphone in the lobby there. That way when things overlap.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about just having the phone up while they were doing their work and just having me blink and maybe get some answers out of me.
We could probably get a dentist office to sponsor this show at this point. Sponsored by I don't know, something associated.
Anthony's dentist in Jersey. I mean, that alone right there.
The fact that we don't have any of that for the dentist or boneless wings at this point in time drives me nuts.
Well, we got all season to get going. Like I said, we're going to be with you for 26 of the next 28 regular season Thursdays. And let's not waste any time. Let's kick things off with a little Rangers Sabres here at 7 o'clock. The Rangers, Chris and I talked about this a little while ago. Didn't look their best opening night against the Penguins at Madison Square Garden, but Crosby and the crew did play a solid game. This is a bounce back spot if I've ever seen one. You're going against Alex Lyon. You haven't scored a goal yet. This is a team that gives up goals. And again, we're basing this off of last year, but the Sabres haven't changed all that much and haven't changed for the better, really. Their goaltending might be worse than it was last year out of the gate. So looking at, you could look at the Rangers money line. I saw that for minus 115 in some spots. I'm willing to take the Rangers to win 60, get a little plus money there at plus 125. I think they bounce back. You could even consider the puck line at plus 210 if you think they're going to clear 2 goals. I'd like to see the offense get going a little bit more before I start betting the Rangers to win by 2. But I think the Rangers to bounce back and win in regulation at plus 125 is a smart way to go.
Trusting the Rangers is something I don't like to do in general. And then they gave me a reason not to against the Penguins because I was promised a lot of goals and that didn't happen. So the Rangers let me down night 1 and I was like, hockey is officially back. I am going to go with a player prop. I'm going to go with Tage Thompson. Now if you can single game parlay them, you probably have to because Tage Thompson for 1 point is like minus 190. So you can't take that one straight. But if you pair it with three or more shots, you can get it at about even money, which is not terrible. Tage Thompson and his numbers, again, going back to last season, the splits are very, very different. He is much better on home ice than he is on the road. So I want to maximize that value. I want to maximize the fact that the Rangers let the Penguins kind of, get some shots on goal, get some things happening. So that's where I want it. I want nothing to do with the Sabres as a team, as a city. And again, I can't trust the Rangers after hurting me on Wednesday. Tuesday. I'm still hurt.
I heard a lot of people on Tuesday.
They did. They hurt my wallet right off the rip, and I was like, "Man, I'm so happy hockey's back." But here we go again. So yes, I'm gonna same game parlay them. I'm gonna do 1 point for Tage Thompson, pair that with 3 or more shots, and then keep the wheel moving.
I think I'm gonna stay away from this game. The Rangers were absolutely lifeless at the Garden. They wore those jerseys. It was a centennial, all the hoopla, and they just could not beat what we have all talked about was a terrible Penguins team, even though they have Crosby and Malkin, and it just not supposed to be a good team. And they came in and they beat up on the Rangers at home. So I'm going to stay away from this one. I don't trust either team at this moment in time. So I mean, trust the Rangers more because they got Shesterkin, but anything can happen in these games, especially early on in the season. And JT Miller is not exactly 100%. He didn't play any of the preseason, so I think during his post game he was talking about that he's just a little off. So I expect this to be a sloppy game from both teams,
which maybe makes you lean to the over 6.5, maybe a high number early for an early season game, not a high number for an NHL game. But I was thinking about the over there too, so that's something to consider. Spoken like a true Islander fan, state of survival. Rangers blow this year. We'll see. It's one game. No, we're not going to overreact on this podcast. It's just not going to happen. No, talk to me next week. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, the next game on the docket, Blackhawks at Bruins, also a 7:00 puck drop there. The the Bruins are the favorites at -162 on the money line. Blackhawks +136. Total 5.5 there. This one, I think Chicago showed me something opening night. They played Florida well. They were moving the puck up and down the ice. They tested Bobrovsky. The younger players, the Nazars, Renzels, Bedards, they all looked confident. So now you're getting a Bruins team that just played last night against the Capitals. It's not an easy game. Washington plays tough. As bad as the Bruins are expected to be here this season, I think this is a chance where maybe you take advantage of the Blackhawks a little bit here, and I'll grab them on the money line. And by the way, this season, just so you know, both of the picks that I just gave out, I'm going to be making picks every day for the NHL on wizardsportspicks.com. Be a couple free picks a week, and there'll be some paid picks. So please check that out if you want to see. I'll at least have 1 or 2 picks for every day, depending upon how heavy the slate is. But back to tonight's game here, Blackhawks Bruins. I've given my take here, my pick. Any other thoughts on this game from either of you gentlemen?
Yes, you are wrong. So
okay.
I'm going to go with the Bruins. I'm going to go with the Bruins. I saw very good. I did not expect them to play very well against the Capitals. Capitals came out. They threw the puck at the net. Jeremy Swayman was very, very good. That Boston first line looked legit. I have shares of Morgan Geekie. David Pastrnak looked fantastic, and he had only 2 shots on goal, right? He had 3 points, 2 shots on goal. The power play was cooking, everything. I don't know if some of you have forgotten, but the Blackhawks are miserable on the road. They're just miserable. And yes, they held a beat-up Panthers team to the Panthers are missing players, and yes, they held them, but Spencer Knight held them there. Arvid Soderblom's getting the start tonight. I cannot trusting the Blackhawks on the road is just a route I'm not going on right now.
Against Jonas Korpisalo? Oh, I mean, they're not
even if it's Jonas Korpisalo, I don't care. I'm not giving Arvid Soderblom the edge here. So I'm gonna steal some value. I'm gonna take the Bruins to cover in regulation. 60 minutes, you get a plus even money over on the Bet365.
Glenn P's he's on the Bruins as well for tonight. Listen, I'm rolling the dice with Soderblom to a degree, but I think it's a good spot here for Chicago early in the season.
I'm shocked that Spencer Knight's not playing, considering they had the day off. Obviously, Swayman played yesterday, so assume Korpisalo will be in there. So because those two are in net, I am going to take the over 5.5 goals total for this game.
Okay, I agree. That's probably a good way to go too. Is the over there? Looking at Saturday here, so because that's the thing. It's not like they have a back-to-back tomorrow, so everybody's in action on Saturday. Who Chicago have on Saturday? They're playing Montreal, so maybe they're saving him for the better team.
Maybe
early in the season. Yeah, you're not resting guys, but you also want to make sure that you don't do anything that gets a guy tweaked. I don't necessarily worry about that with a younger goalie like Spencer Knight, but yeah, I could see maybe them saving that there. So there we go. So we've got we've got a total, and then both sides with the Blackhawks and Bruins here, as we got 2 games down. 14 to go. Maybe we'll agree on this one. Canadians at Red Wings, 7:00 puck drop. Canadians on a back-to-back there. They're going to have Jacob Dobis going tonight. Looks like John Gibson going for the Red Wings. I got 2 in this one. I'm sure Chris will agree. Montreal on the money line at +115. And then I like the over 6.5 +105 in this one. I don't see a lot of pucks being stopped. I know Montreal only scored twice last night. Toronto's a different team than Detroit. And I think Montreal bounces back here against a team that don't have high expectations for in Detroit this year.
I can agree with those. I'm going to stay fully away from this. I can't get too involved with this game. I will say this. If there was a route I would go, the over is probably it. Montreal and Detroit over the last couple of years have had their fair share of goal fests. I want the Montreal Canadiens to bounce back. They played well in Toronto. It wasn't a bad performance. They outshot the Leafs for a large, periods of time. They actually looked good in the second period, which was wild because that's usually where the Montreal Canadiens just absolutely tank. Like they fall apart. They forget how to play hockey. The first period was a challenge, right? Giving up a goal a minute in. It's not the route you want to take, but there's just too much for me here right now. I want to see what the Red Wings are going to look like. Back-to-back road game. I don't know why the NHL has decided this was the route they wanted to go down, but I mean, Gary hates Canada, so that's probably why. But I'm just gonna sit back, watch, have the fun.
Comment from State of Survival in the chat. I don't follow the sports or other schedules look like the NHL's loads of team play and little no team. I think right now it's just early in the season. It's just the way scheduling goes with teams. They'll get in their groove where it's a handful of games on Mondays and Wednesdays, but a heavy Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday slate. Some games Friday, Sundays. The NHL tries to avoid during NFL season because you'll see once mid-January hits and now playoff games are down to just one per window. Now you see the NHL starting to schedule games on Sundays again, except for Super Bowl Sunday. Basketball kind of runs a little bit of a different pattern where they go heavy Monday, Wednesday, and then it's a little more balanced the rest of the week. They tend to have, it used to be with the TNT schedule, they tried to go less on Tuesdays and Thursdays so they could drive more ratings to the less games, but I don't know how that's going to work. The new TV deal and streaming this year. And you can't really compare baseball or football because it's just, football is its own animal. Baseball is its own animal. So,
I mean, baseball, you play 162 games, so you play every day.
I mean, baseball has the travel days on, Mondays and Thursdays where there's a little bit less, but you still usually have at least 4 to 5 games, if not more than that. So,
yeah, and it's the first week of the season, the first Saturday of the NHL season. They want you at home. They want you watching all these games, or whether they're at a bar. They want people's eyes on the sport. So I'm not shocked at the way they're doing this. I'm interested in this game to see, how happy John Gibson is to be out of Anaheim, to see if that, sparks him just a little bit. Sucks that Canadians have to do 2 away right off the bat on the road. I give a little slight edge to the Red Wings here, having them be their home opener, but I like Chris, I'm not going to put any money on this one.
Moving on to the next one, Senators Lightning, another 7:00 Eastern puck drop. I will say that Devils Hurricanes, they did stagger that one and put it at 7:30 Eastern. So watch whichever one you want of those. Then you got your flip back game, and then once 8:00 hits, you can just bounce around. No 8:30s or 10:9s or no 8:30s, 9:30s at 10:30. So once you get out of that early window, everything's going to kind of time out and be at intermission at the same time. Tonight we got the Senators at the Lightning here. The Senators, the Lightning are starting. I lost the screen here for a minute. It looks like it's going to be Vasilevsky going against Linus Ullmark here. So close game. I don't really have a pick or a play here. I mean, I'd lean Lightning in regulation, perhaps, but I'm staying away from this one. I don't really have anything here. What about you, fellas?
No, just not enough for me to like. I think Tampa Bay takes this. This game could be like one of those like 2-1 games, or it finishes like 6-5. There's no middle. There's no middle here. So I don't know what I'm signing up for. There's too many games I care for. I'll let Sens fans watch this one in peace.
Well, I think because of the goalies that you said, I'll take the under 6.5 total goals.
Under 6.5 total goals there. You're looking to get, if you like the Lightning, they're minus 180 in regulate. If you want to take the Lightning in regulation, it's minus 125. So maybe that's a way. If you think they have the edge, if you don't think it's going to go to overtime, that's a way to go. But yeah, under 6.5, certainly not a bad play there either. We move along to the Flyers at the Panthers here. Looks like we're going to have Sergei Bobrovsky going again. Tonight it's going to be for the Philadelphia Flyers. Dan Vladar. Don't love that matchup for Philly, but what I do like for that is the over 5.5 minus 115 at BetMGM. I think Florida they put in 3 pucks the other night against Chicago. I think they'll get more than that against Vladar tonight. A lot, because again, a lot of what didn't go in against Spencer Knight is going to go in against Dan Vladar. I know he played well enough to get the opening night start for Philly. And Philly does have some offensive punch on that team with Mishkov and Owen Tippett. So I don't think it's asking a lot to get this to a 6 total here. So I would take that over 5.5. Yeah, Zegras is new in town, so yeah, I think we're over 5.5 minus 115. I'm going to go with that.
I like, for me, it would have been the Panthers money line, but I mean that's super inflated, so we can't do that. You're expecting the Flyers to score goals.
Yes.
They may not. They may not be able to do that. So I can't trust them. I can't trust the Flyers to do what they need to do. And it's just it's too inflated to take the Panthers. Even the Panthers in regulation is still too high for my liking. So
listen, I have no doubt that the Panthers win the game, but I do think we'll see. I think we'll get it to 6 there. I think again, Florida might get 4 and Philly might get 2. I know you don't know where the goal offense is coming from in Philly yet, but it's a new team, new regime. Tortorella's out, Tockett's in, so there's not going to be that guys are going to be able to play without the fear of, oh geez, I was 0.2 seconds late back checking there. Torts is probably going to bench me the rest of the game. They don't have that anymore hanging over their heads. So a little looser and freer, I think maybe leads a little more offense out of the gate for Philly. Islanders Penguins, the last of the 7 o'clock puck drops. I don't really have a lean either way here. It's going to be Jarry versus the Islanders. Because it's Jarry, now maybe, you look at the Islanders to maybe steal one on the road, but Islanders Penguins games are always like weird to me. Anecdotally, they're 2-1 or like 6-5, no in between. I'm staying away at least early in the season until I get a better read on both these squads.
I'm taking the Islanders. I imagine trusting just Tristan Jarry in any way, shape, or form. I think the Penguins in their opening night, they didn't get much out of Sid, Raquel, or any of the big boys. It was Brazo and the rest, which is good. It's good depth, but you need your big boys to do some scorings, and Sheloff was good. Tristan Jarry is terrible. He is a terrible goalie, and the Islanders brought, they have some guys in there that can do some damage. Now, if Patrick Waugh lets his guys play, then they should be fine. The only thing that's going to scare me here is special teams, because the Islanders were horrendous on the power play and horrendous on the penalty kill. Something's got to give here. But they have the better goalie in Sorokin. I think the blue lines are kind of like, mid-offs. And yes, the Penguins have the better players, but I think the Islanders have more depth. So I think the Islanders can do a little bit of damage here. I think once they figure out you get pucks in front of Jarry, they're going to go in at some point. They have to, because it's Tristan Jarry. Can't stop it. He finished, he played in the AHL last year at a certain point because he was that horrendous, and he finished with a save percentage below 900 for the year. So I trust the Islanders to be able to get past the Penguins. So I'm going to take the Islanders money line, which is still very affordable.
Minus 135 money line at DraftKings right now.
Yeah, you guys convinced me to stay away.
Yeah, I just think, it's just one of those. If you don't have anything, if you wanted to get better odds, minus 130 at ESPN Bet, minus 125 at Bet Rivers is probably the best number I'm seeing there. So maybe if you like Chris's play, that's the way to go there. So we are out of the 7 o'clock puck drops. Now we're at the lone 7:30 Eastern puck drop. It's the Devils at the Hurricanes. What a matchup of what many expect to be the two top teams in the Metropolitan Division. Maybe Capitals fans have something to say about that. Jacob Markstrom going against Freddie Anderson there. Total in that one is going to be 5.5. Hurricanes minus 175 on the money line. Devils plus 145 here. Under 5.5 plus 100 is tempting. Something tells me this is a 4-2 hockey game, so I'm not touching anything in this game. This is what I'll enjoy watching as long as it's not a snooze fest, which is a possibility with Devils Hurricanes.
It could be a snooze fest sometimes, but considering the last 2 times these teams played in the playoffs, Carolina seems to score a lot of goals against the Devils. I know they have Markstrom, but it's early on in the season. Who knows what the rust is? I'm taking the over 5.5 for this game, considering I've seen these guys play each other so many times. I don't know what the rust is on Freddie Anderson either. Both the Devils are going to look to score a lot of goals. Jack Hughes is back and healthy. So is Dougie Hamilton. And the Hurricanes have got, Nikolai Ehlers on the team now. And I'm pretty sure they're fresh and ready to go to score some goals. So I'll take over 5.5 for this one.
I just can't get behind any of these teams. This is going to be a very good game, though. I am excited. Yes, I'm excited to see how both teams play. A healthy Devils team, The Carolina Hurricanes are like deep as they can be now. This could be a very good game, but I don't know who's going to win it, and I don't know how many goals are going to be scored. So I'm just going to sit back and watch it during the intermission of the Habs game.
All right. One more game involving an Eastern Conference team before we shift gears out to the Central and Pacific divisions fully. The Columbus Blue Jackets up their season in Nashville against the Predators there. Looking on it's a 6.5 total, over plus 105, under 6.5 minus 125. The Blue Jackets slight road favorites at the Predators slight home favorites at minus 150. Columbus minus 105 on the road there. Looking at the starting goalies tonight. You mentioned earlier it's going to be Jet Greaves for the Blue Jackets. Nothing confirmed yet according to Daily Faceoff for the Predators, but I would assume UC Saros is going to go on opening night. Surprised me if it didn't. I don't really have a read in this game. I would maybe consider the over at 6.5. I just, this one's a stay away spot for me. I want to see what Columbus looks like. I want to see what Nashville looks like after a very subpar season in Nashville.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're going to get to see, Jet Greaves start and see what he's all about. So once we get a little bit more into who he is in net, have a better understanding of possibly what this, Blue Jackets team is all about.
I want to trust either team. I can't. I mean, the Predators were so good last year on home ice at generating shots without scoring. So that's usually not a good recipe. The Jackets had just terrible splits. They were dominant on home ice, and then they went on the road and they just forgot how to play hockey. So I don't know if that's been corrected. Maybe. I just don't want to find out night one. So this one kind of Vegas feels like it's going to be a split anyways. They're undecided as well. So if they're undecided, I'm also pretty undecided. I'll just let them play it out.
Let's keep it in the Central Division now. We shift to Chris's Wild at My Blues to open the season there. Looking at St. Louis at minus 125 favorites. Minnesota plus 105 on the money line. The over 5.5 minus 125, under plus 105. Looking at the starting goaltending matchup for tonight here. Looking at looks like it's going to be Jordan Binnington. Nothing confirmed for Minnesota yet as of time this streams, but I would imagine it's going to be Philip Gustafson. For me in this game, maybe I look at the under just because both teams are grind, but I mean, both teams have, again, this is another stay away spot for me. I promise I've got picks for 3 of the remaining games after. So early in the season, you got to pick and choose your spots. And it's, you're trying to base off of what you saw. Can't really even do too much in the preseason because that's guys fighting for roster spots and stuff. You're just trying to get an idea of where they coming out of last year with the changes they made. See if you can figure something out for tonight, but this is a close matchup regardless.
I'm going to take the Wild.
All right.
But there's reasons why, not just because they may be an adopted team of mine.
Okay.
I guess looking at the St. Louis Blues and being like, oh, they're at home, trying to give them the edge. Minnesota was very good on the road last season. They were better on the road than they were at home. They're healthy. Everybody's in the lineup there. Kaprizov is there. I think the steps of Marco Rossi and the addition of Zembuyam are going to help give this team another offensive gear that maybe they didn't have in previous years. So if this game turns out to be one of those goal scoring fests, which I don't think it will, but even if it does, I think the Wild win that. I think the Wild have, obviously their game breakers are there, right? Boldy, Kaprizov. I think Joel Eriksson-Ek as well can contribute to it. There's more than enough depth in the Minnesota lineup to get it done and to score goals. The back end should be good as well. I think Philip Gustafson is a better goalie than Jordan Binnington is. So if it comes down to the goalie battle, then I think Gustafson will win it. I just don't like the Minnesota as the underdog here. I thought it would have been the other way. I would have taken Minnesota if they were favorites. So getting them at any type of plus money just feels like a deal for me.
What do you got for this one, Ant?
This is a tough one with Minnesota on the road, but like Chris said, they had a good record on the road last season, fresh off of signing contract extensions with Kaprizov and Gustafson. I'm pretty sure they want to show that off, and I think that they're going to win it. But I'm not putting anything on this one. But I think the Wild will win.
One thing I'll say is I agree on paper that if, hey, it somehow turns into a track meet, Minnesota's better equipped for that. But we saw a few times in that first round series with the Blues and the Jets last year, we were all thinking this is going to be a bet the under every game series. St. Louis had no problem getting into some sort of getting into a track meet with Winnipeg when that was the flow of the game. So, Jimmy Snuggerud in the lineup now, another guy that can help with that, besides Jordan Kyrou on the right side. So it's a shame that this is an opening night matchup. It's great, but it's also terrible at the same time. Speaking of shame that it's an opening night matchup, Stars at Jets, two of the better games of the night, both dropping the puck at 8:00. Looking at on the board here, the Dallas slight road favorites at -112, Winnipeg -108. No surprise, the total there is 5.5. And at the starting goaltending matchup for tonight, it's Jake Ottinger against Connor Hellebuck. It would be extremely surprising to see Casey DeSmith versus whoever for Winnipeg. But nonetheless, you guys are going to think I'm crazy here, but I'm actually leaning towards the over for no other reason that this is a zag when everything should zig. All 4 of their meetings last year went under this total. It's 2 of the best goalies on the planet right now. Everything points to the under. I don't know. There's something about this game tells me it's going over.
I'm going to take the under. I think these teams and the goalies have too much pride on their hands, and they are going to be battling it out all season long. I will take the under 5.5 for this one. I'm going with everyone else, under 5.5.
I'm just going to sit back and watch two of the best goalies play. That's it. I don't know who's going to win it. And man, I just don't have the pair to bet the over.
So you think under?
I would think it would lean that way, but again,
see, he's hesitant. He's kind
of what could worry? The only thing that could worry me here is that an empty net goal kind of just sends it, because we saw it yesterday in Montreal. Some coaches, like at this point, they're like, hey, like if we lose by 1 or we lose by 3, it doesn't matter. So I feel like this could be a situation where the game is close, 3-2 or something. You're right there, and then the empty netter hits, and you're like, well, I did all that work. Now what?
And this is one thing I'll say, when you bet football, especially in college, because there are clauses in contracts about how many times they cover against the spread and stuff like that. In the NFL, the coaches may say they don't look at it, but sometimes they want to look at that and like, no, I want to make sure I cover that either way. You don't get that in the NHL. There's no NHL bench boss that's like, well, like Chris said, the trend now is to pull the goalie earlier and earlier, and they'll dig themselves in a hole even further if it somehow is going to try and get them out of a hole. So that's going to be, as you follow along more and more, that's something will be throughout the season to keep an eye on, empty net goals and when guys are pulling goalies and stuff like that. So another thing, I thought that was going to be a gang up pick, which is we'll have to track those this year where 2 guys pick one thing and 1 guy the other. I thought you were going to go against me under on my over there. We'll see how that goes here. Unfortunately, gambling is illegal in Thailand. So if that's where Glenn is checking in from, I'm sorry, my man, but we still give you the fantasy stuff. And you can extract stuff out of this for over fantasy advice.
Yeah, first of all, it may be illegal if you're in Thailand, but your allegedly VPN can be anywhere in the world that you want. Right. Now, that's not advice. I'm just saying. Well,
if he does, and we don't hear from Glenn, we know what happened.
We know what happened. You got caught by the Thailand police. You're in jail because of us. My apologies, Glenn, for sending you to jail with a VPN.
And if that happens, we will take up at totalhockeynow@gmail.com. Some sort of GoFundMe. We'll set it up for you. We'll do our best, but I don't know what the conversion rate is, all that stuff. It'll take time. It's not going to happen overnight. So working on it. We're working on it too. Promise. Yeah. We got a few games to go here. We got 4 left on the schedule here as we head out. Mountain Time Zone. The Utah Mammoth, the first time we're saying that on Total Hockey Now for a regular hockey season game.
My team.
That's your team in the Central. Taking on the Colorado Avalanche, who took care of business against the Kings in the nightcap of the opening night triple header. I've got nothing here. I want to see what Utah looks like, with the addition of J.J. Peterka. Their blue line's actually healthy out of the gate this year, which was not the case last year. Harel Vemelka going against Scott Wedgwood. Looking here at DraftKings, the Avalanche -185 favorites to +154 for the Mammoth. 6.5 the total there. I think Colorado ultimately wins the game. Money line's too juiced. I mean, if you wanted to look on, at the win 60, but I could see Utah putting up a fight tonight. I could see them keeping it close. Not looking at the puck line there at all for Colorado.
I'm going to stay away from. I'm tempted to take the over, but I'm going to stay away from it, considering who you said was in net. I think the Mammoth win this one. I trust Vemelka better than I do Wedgwood, and I need Wedgwood to lose because Chris has him, and that's in our fantasy matchup. So I need Colorado to lose that game.
I think Colorado wins. I just, like you said, juice is too much. I don't want to trust the puck line now with Scott Wedgwood. That's just asking for trouble.
Minus 130 for a regulation victory. So maybe that's a little more palatable. But again, I could see Utah really playing this close tonight.
I can too. And with a 6.5 total, it could get there, but I'm just not feeling it. So.
All right. So that one's a stay away for all of us. Flames at Canucks. You wanted to take the Canucks because the Flames had to go into a shootout against Edmonton last night, travel and all that. Listen, I don't think anybody on the show thinks Vancouver is going to be a good team, but I could look at the Canucks tonight, maybe in a win 60 situation there. I'm going to look at what that is for you on DraftKings right now. But the starting matchup for the goaltenders tonight is going to be Thatcher Demko, likely Devin Cooley. I doubt we're going to have a back-to-back situation for Dustin Wolf, although he's young enough that maybe they could. But hey, a couple of Northern California goaltenders going for the Flames on their opening 2 games. Goalie matchups there. Wanted the Canucks in regulation. It's minus 140, so it's probably last train leaving the station there. Total for that game is going to be 5.5. So, any particular leans or plays here?
Man,
I'll take over 5.5 on this one. Dustin Wolf gave up 3 goals. Yeah, Dustin Wolf gave up 3 goals yesterday. They got the 3 back. I with him not in net, I think that this will go over 5.5 here. So I'll take that. But very impressive come from behind win from the Flames against Edmonton yesterday on the road.
Yeah, I mean, Wolf may have given up 3 goals, but he also had to face McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah,
Cooley's not going to face any of that tonight. I don't want anything to do with this game. It reeks of absolute just gut-wrenching bad beat. That's what it smells like. It smells like a bad beat no matter what side you go on. I want to trust the Flames, right, because of what they did. But yes, 2 and 2 nights. Dustin Wolf is a big part of a lot of the bets that you're going to make with them. So, when he plays, there's a chance. But when he doesn't, I don't know what Cooley's going to be able to offer. And then it's more of what are you going to get from the Canucks? What exactly are you going to get from them? I don't know. So I'll wait a little bit, find out if they're legit or not. This game could be 1-1 and in a shootout because that's how it goes. So I can't drink minus 210 on Vancouver on opening night with that offensive group. Can't drink that.
Let's work our way down the Pacific Coast here. Stop off in Seattle here with the Ducks at the Kraken. Also a 10 o'clock puck drop. Lucas Dostal against Joey Decord. Looking at the Kraken as minus 130 home favorites. Anaheim plus 110. The total sits at 6.5. Listen, I'm going to say it now. Maybe this is one of those where I'm eating my words with some barbecue sauce or honey mustard later on in the season. People are sleeping on the Ducks this year. I'm not saying they're a guaranteed playoff team, but I'm saying they're better than they were last year with Quenneville. They've made some obvious upgrades. Even if Chris Kreider's in the back line of his career, he's better than what they had in that lineup overall last year. The way the lineup is now balanced out. To name one guy that upgraded the lineup. Again, not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're a team that'll very much be in the hunt playoff graphics come late March and early April. This line opened up minus 1.5, and people are betting Seattle to the point where it's now plus 110 on Anaheim. I can even get the Ducks on the money line at plus 115 on Bet Rivers. That's where I'm going tonight. I think you're going to see a Ducks team that plays a little bit more cohesive, better game overall. What did the Kraken do in the offseason besides add Mason Marchment, Ryan Lindgren? Not much to speak of there. I'm not high on the Kraken this year, and I really like the Ducks to be we'll say a good bad team. It's the best way I would describe them this year. So, and I would also consider the under 5.5 in this one at plus money. again, I don't. Excuse me, no, I'm looking at the wrong game. So I would look at the under 6.5 minus 130. I don't see a ton of goal scoring here. I see a defensive battle. So I like those are my two plays for this one.
Stay away. I'm staying away from this game. Yeah, I think Anaheim's going to be a better team this year because they have Quenneville, but I guess it all depends on if Lucas Dostal's ready to take, the leap to being a top goalie or if he's going to be Devin Levi. So, I mean, that's going to be the big difference.
We all fell for him hard last year.
We did.
We did.
Chris sold us. I blame Chris.
I did. Listen,
I
I'll
blame
take
Chris.
that one. That's my fault. That's my bad, boys. Listen, I the only reason you're high on the Kraken is because you're on the medicinal, because that team is miserable. They are so. Listen, if you want to watch this game and cure insomnia, like that's how you
why
do
we
it.
like the under.
Okay, no, I can't. I want nothing to do with this game. I don't even want to watch it. Like if there's so many 10 o'clock games, this one's not on my radar, not even close. I'm glad I don't have too much.
This is number 3 on your power ranking of the 10 o'clock puck drop. So let's get
it's number 4. I would watch whatever else is on. I'll watch a rerun of the earlier games.
Let's get to the last game on the slate here with the Vegas Golden Knights traveling off a back-to-back at home last night. Now they find themselves in the South Bay in San Jose, where the opening night giveaway is a bobblehead of the infamous sleepover with Tyler Toffoli, Macklin Celebrini, and Will Smith. I won't make, if I was going to try and make it to a Thursday game, that would have been it this year. Wife's working tonight, so it wouldn't have worked out. But nonetheless, that'll probably be the best part of the game tonight for the Sharks. Alex Nedeljkovic getting the start over Yaroslav Halak. He looked good in preseason. I don't mind it. Akira Schmid going for the Vegas Golden Knights. Right now, over-unders at 5.5. Vegas heavy road favorites minus 218. Sharks underdogs at home at plus 180. I got to say, Sharks plus 1.5 intrigued me at minus 140. It is now up to minus 148, so I'm not the only one that's on that bandwagon. Catching Vegas on a back-to-back. San Jose is expected to be a little bit better this year. There's more positive. There's a little bit of a better vibe coming into the season versus last year. Or last year with the Sharks coming into the season was just, man, I hope we don't lose multiple 10-1 games again. And then I think they ended up losing one like that last year. But again, Vegas is the much better team, but like it's starting to get a little too juiced. But Sharks plus a puck and a half minus 148 now is probably a little high, but at minus 140, I still liked it. And now I give the floor to Chris to tell me why that pick sucks.
I'm taking the Sharks money line. I mean, I don't know how else to explain this. Vegas is playing the tail end of a back-to-back, and they caught LA on a back-to-back, and they allowed LA to put up 5 and then win it in a shootout. Nah, ain't no way we're doing like that. That's not the way we're going to start the season, right, Vegas? That was at home where Vegas was significantly better than everybody else. And it's not Alex Pietrangelo being out of the lineup that all of a sudden moved the needle either way. So now they go on the road. Akira Schmid is going to start. Listen, the Sharks may not get there, but if we're going to swing, we're going to swing. You know what I mean? The Sharks are fun. The vibes are high. It's bobblehead night. They don't have to, you know what I mean? There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of guys that are going to want to play well. This is year 2. If anybody can catch the Golden Knights on an off night, right? Maybe the Golden Knights, I'm sure they don't want to start 0-1-1 or 0-2. I don't care. But you don't let the LA Kings come into your barn and do that to you. It just doesn't happen. It's unacceptable. Maybe they correct it. I don't know. But it's not Akira Schmid who's going to solve that. And if we're looking at the Macklin Celebrini and the Will Smith, step, they brought in, Jeff Skinner is there as well. So maybe he adds a little bit. William Eklund is there. They've got some guys. The blue line's got guys who can score. They got some power play. It's a shame that Dickinson's not in there because that would have set them over the edge even more, right? But I'm here for it. I'm here for the fun and teal.
Listen, he says he likes the Sharks. They're fun. I'm the first guy to say the Sharks. I've already got 6 games in pocket this year for the Sharks with 3 more to. I'm just trying to exploit the way they handle their flex plan subscribers because they like to do giveaways. And like I didn't get that fun thing for being up front. And yeah, fine. I'm not going to go on that rant. We'll save that for another day. All I know is my first game of the year is the 22nd against Ottawa, and I'm getting a Shark Pop anime team poster. So we'll see what that looks like. That'll be
You chose it a flex plan to go watch the Sharks and the Senators?
Well, so for me, it's more about the days of the week where the games land. So I have to go heavy on the Saturday games. So I
was gonna not even Ottawa fans are selecting that one.
Well, part of the reason I took that one is because it's a 4:00 local puck drop because it's gonna be the 7:00 and I'm gonna take my daughter to that game.
Okay.
Wife's working that day. Daddy daughter day down at the Shark Tank, and then by the time we get home, it's bedtime. It's great.
She's gonna see Sharky. She's gonna have a great time. I get it now. Makes more sense because I was like, nobody's choosing that one unless it's part of the plan.
They also have a New Year's Eve afternoon matinee game. We're going to do the same thing because why not? Like, it's what else am I going to do at 1:00 in the afternoon on a Wednesday when schools are closed? So, like I said, I'll be there a bunch this year. Looking forward to that. So, back to the headline though. You're taking the Sharks, which may not happen again the rest of the year.
May not, but listen, that performance from Vegas yesterday, not great, Bob. Not a great start. Like it's all nice. Listen, it's all nice that Dorofeev had 3 goals and that Jack had 4 points and Marner had 2 assists and all that is dandy. That is great from a DFS perspective, from a betting perspective. That is great, but they lost, and we care about wins and losses here. And that listen again. I don't know if they're going to win. But plus 175 seems like that's a little too high after what we just saw the Golden Knights do.
Yeah, I know all too well who Akira Schmidt is, and I'll just say no thank you on this game. But I do have Thomas Hertl in the lineup. I do have Noah Hannafin, so I'd like to see some action out of those 2 guys. And I really would genuinely like to see some of these young kids on the Sharks. Adam has sold me on this team. He should be an ambassador for the San Jose Sharks. They could sponsor this show. We talk about all these sponsors. San Jose could sponsor this show. We might see ticket sales go up just because Adam is promoting on the show for the San Jose Sharks.
Well, now I'm looking at all the other giveaways that I'm supposed to get this year. I'm trying to see what. So nothing on New Year's Eve. It looks like I have to double check that, but yeah, some of them a lot of what these teams will do now is they'll say we're doing a giveaway this day, but they don't specify the item. So it gets a little bit closer. I do know that when I go see the Rangers play the Sharks, I'm going to be getting a San Jose Sharks 49ers Bay Area soccer team crossover soccer jersey. So that'll be cool, I guess. I look forward to that.
Was it this year or last year? Weren't you supposed to get like a cooler or something?
I made good use out of that cooler bag this year. I even emailed my rep in the offseason pictures of me using it at the beach. I'm like, this is one of the best giveaways I've ever gotten from a sporting event. So thank you.
They should put you.
Adam's really close to his ticket rep.
They should put Adam on the website modeling all of the gear and giveaways.
Listen, reach out to Cameron Carcosa at the Sharks right now. Let him know. I got to know what the price of a beer and a hot dog is at the Shark Tank. I'll update you on what the prices are for this year. It's not bad. It's,
that's reasonable.
They're reasonable there. It's not,
it's not MSG.
It's not MSG, and especially considering you're right in the heart of Silicon Valley, it's still a pretty good price. But they know the team they have. You know what I mean? Like, let's not be real here.
It's not MSG and it's not the Bell Center, so you're fine. That's basically it.
Yeah,
you're good. You can probably bring a 20 and get both.
Do they have Molson? That's the big thing.
One stand that I have to figure out what section it's at this year and see if where my seats are in terms of that. Yeah. Check that out.
We won't tell Jeff Molson that there's only one Molson product. It's Shark Tank.
I want to say it's by like 116, but I'm not sure. But nonetheless, there we go.
We used to have it all over the Prudential Center. Now we have no more. Now it's Labatt, and I'm very disappointed.
Yeah. Labatt's still good, but it's not Molson Canadian. And listen, I understand if you're a Canadian watching this, you're debating over mid-tier beers right now, but there's just something refreshing about a Molson Canadian. Maybe it's part of the appeal that you can't just walk into any store and get it down here. Like only certain places carry it, which I should probably go to the beer distributor soon. Maybe I should make that trip soon. So let's get things out of here. But before we do, Ant, are we still on hiatus for the Subway to Shake podcast? When can we look forward to like a winter meetings preview? So
that will happen post World Series. We'll start getting ready for the hot stove. I did my last episode on Sunday, which was, a lot of news because a lot of the coaches got fired. So talked about that, but we're taking a break until after the World Series, unless something breaks, which I assume not, but post World Series, we will get into baseball a little more now that baseball is absolutely finished in New York.
And I get it. Mets fans love to take some schadenfreude at the Yankees' expense, and I understand that big brother, little brother thing, but I will say I think it's a little much to see Mets fans sharing the Blue Jay pooping on the Yankee hat when team didn't go to the playoffs this year and you signed Juan Soto. So maybe, and I get it, like abuse the Yankees, but maybe you should sit that one out a little. At least the Yankees won a series in the postseason.
I gotta hand it to Toronto for playing New York in the locker room at Yankee Stadium.
They control all they want. They won. I got no problem with that. They had a Yankees team employee opening the bottles for them. I mean, just throw salt in the wound and lemon juice in the eye. That's fine. I don't care. But I don't want to hear it from Mets fans.
I knew this series was going to be over. I knew this series was going to be over when Aaron Boone called out, Buck Martinez about what he said about the Yankees at spring training. And I was like, man, you do not take shots at royalty like that. And then Vladdy came out and started cranking bombs, man. That's it.
Nobody was the daddy.
Listen, he hates New York the same way I hate Chris Kreider. That's basically it. Him and I, that's the type of dislike I have for Chris Kreider. That's
goes in order: Ken Griffey Jr., Vladdy Guerrero, and then Chris Maurice.
The Slapshot podcast, also known as the Anti-Chris Kreider podcast. I know a new episode dropped for that, yesterday, day before?
That is true. Wednesday, because I was busy Monday. So we covered some of the contracts. We talked a little bit about, Connor McDavid and the solid he did. 3 season-long prop bets there. Some fun ones. You can go check that out. You can bet them. And if they win, that's because of me. If they lose, it's because of variance. And I can't control variance. So you can hit the sub button, leave a comment or something, say something mean or something. It's fine. I also took a shot at the Bruins. So,
that'll be the whipping boy for the year, probably more. I mean, you kind of give equal hate to most of the teams in the Atlantic Division. You kind of spread it out as the season goes on. So,
with the exception of the Sabres, I just don't like them and their city. So them, it has nothing to do with their team. It's just
they're so far. They're not even worth your time.
They're not even worth it.
I think Chris is upset and embarrassed that he put all this love into Devin Levi and the Buffalo Sabres ruined him. Absolutely ruined him. He
was very good. I got to see him because the Montreal Canadiens farm team, the Laval Rocket, played the Rochester Americans last year. I went to a game. I saw Devin Levi in person. He was fantastic. And I was like, why can't you do this in the NHL? Come on, man.
They couldn't cut it for him. We tried.
Listen, it's not because we didn't try.
Rip and Riff, new episodes every Monday. Mr. Jared Moore and myself recap the week in the NFL, look ahead. We give an early week parlay that usually doesn't hit, but at least it's fun to try and figure out. 3-leg parlay, I should say. And we rip cards, and we'll be talking plenty of hockey there as the season goes on. And of course, like I said, you can find my hockey picks daily at wizardsportspicks.com. But fellas, we did it. We are officially into hockey season. First in-season episode in the books. That man all the way down there at Fuzzy Chris 91. That man right by, as you're looking at my right, my left, at Ant Rivera 86. I am at Pucking Thoughts Adam Bernard. Back with you with an all-new episode of Total Hockey Now here on the Total Hockey Now YouTube channel. Thanks as always for tuning in. Hope to see you next week, as we're going to be here every week, except for 2 Thursdays right through the regular season. Thanks for watching.